Do you know who this is? This is Nuada. He was the king of Tuatha Dé Danann in Ireland. He was also a god with the silver hand. Long ago, when magic still flowed through the rivers, the people of the goddess Danu, the Tuatha Dé Danann, they were a magnificent race. They were skilled in art, wisdom, and when needed, war. The High King was Nuada, a man of such strength and fairness that he seemed to carve from the very spirit of the land. His leadership was the pillar upon which their safety rested. One sunny afternoon, a stranger came to town, a traveller. He didn't come with any staff or any people. He was very hospitable, Nuada, so he offered him food. In exchange for the food, the traveller pulled out of his cloak a leather-bound package. All of his knights and all of his people jumped to attention, thinking his traveller might have something dodgy. However, he said, "A king needs more than people to rule." He said darkly, "He needs a legacy of protection." Unwrapped the gift, and with the very air in the great hall, it seemed to sharpen. It was a sword, but like no blade that Nuada or anyone had ever seen before. The hilt was a black iron, and it was etched with ancient swirling symbols that pulsed very lightly with indigo light. But the blade, it didn't reflect light. It seemed to absorb it, glowing with a so slow, steady, internal illumination. This was called the Sword of Light. But peace in Ireland was very fragile at that time. From across the sea, the Verborg, of fierce and numerous warriors who coveted the fertile lands of the Tuatha Dé Danann. They cared nothing for the magic of Danu or the wisdom of the kings. All they understood was strength and conquest. War was inevitable. Nuada, knowing the responsibility rested on his shoulders, began to rally his warriors. The time for the Sword of Light had come. Is met on the great plain of Tuatha. The ground trembled with the thunder of hoofs and the clash of iron with all the swords. The air was thick with smokes, and the shouts of battle must have been horrendous. Nuada, at the head of his forces, was a beacon of light because of his sword. With every swing of the Sword of Light, he cut a swathe through the Verborg lines. But the Verborg king, Seren, a mountain of a man with a brutal, scarred face, sought out Nuada, roaring a challenge that momentally silenced the battle. And this is King Seren, who does look a bit mean. So they locked in battle, Nuada and King Seren. Seren was brutal, a master of sheer power, while Nuada was a whirlwind of practiced skill and magical strength. But Seren's massive mace was terrible, and Nuada lost his hand. Seren's mace was brutal. In a single horrific moment, as Nuada leaned in for a strike, Seren swung his weapon with a force that might have levelled a hill. The mace connected not with the sword, but with Nuada's hand. The battlefield went silent. A king must be in perfect body to lead. So not only did he lose his arm, he also lost his crown on that day. His hand was separated and flew off the end of his arm. A bright flash of pain or magic marked the severing, and apparently he didn't bleed. And now Nuada couldn't hold his shield, and in Ireland you couldn't be a king if you wasn't perfect. So not only did he lose his crown, he lost his arm and all. Sarang, seeing his advantage, pressed forward. But the brave warriors of the Tuatha Dé Danann, fueled by fury and grief, rallied around the fallen leader, pushing back the Furbolg. Nuada was saved, but he was broken, and in the eyes of the people, he could no longer be king. Nuada spent months in seclusion. He sat in a quiet hall, watching the sun set over his kingdom that he could no longer rule, watching the sunset every day. Leaning against the wall, its light dim and silent, he not only felt physical pain, his spirit was wounded. The magic of his people had not forgotten him. One day, he got a visit from Dian Chench, a master of healing whose skills bordered on resurrection. Would not only accept the king's loss, he began a work that combined all of his knowledge of anatomy, metalwork and deep earth magic. He forged a hand, not of flesh but of pure simmering silver. This silver hand, Nuada, was not just a replacement, it was a testament to endurance, integrated so perfectly that it moved with all the agility and grace of his original hand. The return of the king was a moment of resurrection for the Tuatha Dé Danann. Nuada stood before his people, and as he raised his silver hand, the sun caught it and made it shine like a new star. He reclaimed his kingdom, and as his silver fingers closed around that dark hilt, the indigo symbols flared and the entire blade shone with a light brighter and clearer than ever before. Nuada was not just a king restored, he was the king of the silver hand, forever a symbol of true strength lies not only in perfection but in resilience. So was he the first cyborg, the first person to use a synthetic arm, leg, etc.? Was he the first one ever?